Well, welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner alongside Taheshah and Eric Chilton. Another week has started, and that means it's time to keep you informed and connected about what's going on in your community.
Yes, let's start with your 4 to 5 roundup for some headlines across the state. Governor Roy Cooper announcing today that he signed a bipartisan relief bill worth $1.5 billion in coronavirus relief to the state. Now, that emergency funding will help local governments, schools, hospitals, small businesses, unemployment, and more.
I appreciate these leaders reaching consensus with each other and our office to move quickly so that we can test and trace this disease while we also get relief to people and businesses that need it.
Governor Cooper says he's hopeful the state can enter phase 1 of his reopening plan this weekend. During phase 1, some businesses can reopen with restrictions. Parks will reopen, but gyms and hair salons will remain closed. The stay-at-home order would also remain in place until phase 2. Another form of relief getting a lot of attention online. Senator Mitt Romney is proposing essential frontline workers get an additional $12 an hour of pay for 3 months. This would be on top of what they already make. The pay would be for the months of May, June, and July. It would go to workers like grocery store workers, food processors, and others in critical industries. A quarter of the extra pay would need to be covered by employers, the rest by the federal government. Back here in the Triad, organizers canceled the 2020 Greensboro Pride Festival and Parade. The parade was scheduled for the end of June, the festival for October. Organizers say they plan to hold smaller events this year once the coronavirus threats are lower. This year would have been the first Pride Parade in Greensboro. Both the parade and festival will be pushed until 2021. And the North Carolina Zoo may be closed, but that didn't stop this new baby rhino from getting a name. The votes have been tallied, and the new southern white rhino is now named Jojo. The zoo said Jojo is named after rhino keeper Joseph Jojo Wachara from a conservation in Kenya. He was one of the last caretakers of Sudan, the last male northern white rhino. When he heard she would be named after him, Jojo said he was deeply honored.
Well, let's get back to the big question in our state right now. Will we start to reopen here soon? Governor Roy Cooper says he thinks we could hit phase 1 of reopening as early as this weekend. Now, over this past weekend, more businesses around the Triad did open their doors. On Friday, it was several Goodwill locations. Then Hobby Lobby opened 3 stores here in the Triad. A few Suntan City locations also opened to customers this weekend. With our stay-at-home order still into effect until the end of this week, only essential businesses are allowed to be open right now. But businesses can apply to the state for special exemptions, which would let them reopen early. To our south today is the first full day that South Carolina's governor lifted most of the restrictions there, and that includes a mandatory work-from-home policy. It's now just a voluntary suggestion. Malls reopened on Friday. Now, social distancing was encouraged and employees were temperature checked before they clocked in. Shoppers say they were interested in buying things they hadn't been able to find since the online stores closed.
The coronavirus pandemic continues to impact Triad businesses and the local economy. Gold's Gym is the latest business to file for bankruptcy. And the company said in a statement that they hope this helps them come back stronger than before. This bankruptcy filing does not impact locally owned franchise gyms, just the ones owned by Gold's Gym corporate. Now, here in the Triad, the Brassfield location in Greensboro is a corporate-owned location. That means it is impacted by this bankruptcy filing, but the company hopes to reopen at some point later this year. The location in Winston-Salem, which closed a few weeks back, is also company-owned. That location will remain closed permanently, one of 30 locations nationwide shut down for good. In other news, the clothing store company J. Crew has also filed for bankruptcy. It's the first major filing, I should say, from a major U.S. retailer. The company owns both J. Crew and Madewell stores. Both had locations at the Friendly Center in Greensboro, but J. Crew closed its store there earlier this year. Despite the filing, the retailer says they plan to stay in operation and continue online orders.
If you are still having a hard time finding cleaning supplies in the store, you are not the only one. And supply chain experts say it could be a while before we'll see Lysol and sanitizer back on store shelves. Our sister station connects the dots and explains why.
If you are still looking for disinfectant cleaning products, it could be a while before you see them back on store shelves. Let's connect the dots. At the start of this pandemic, there was a lot of panic buying. We all saw the pictures of toilet paper and Lysol wipes flying off the shelves. But at a lot of stores, the paper products are slowly returning. The cleaning supplies, not so much. And people who study supply chains say you can expect it to be like that for a couple more months. The chemicals that go into some popular cleaning products are manufactured in China. And it's not like you can just ship them overnight. It takes about 4 weeks for a shipment to arrive. And on top of that, some of those factories in China were shut down while the country dealt with COVID-19. That seriously disrupted the supply chain. Despite that, some of the big companies are still blaming increased demand, saying the shelves are being restocked. People are just snatching up those items as soon as they see them. Meanwhile, at least one supply chain expert told CNN, you probably won't see popular cleaning products like disinfectant wipes for sale on a widespread basis until July or August.
There's a lot of gratitude for medical providers these days, which makes sense since they are on the front line battling the COVID-19 epidemic. Well, an anonymous donor wants to bless the healthcare workers where they live and make them feel appreciated. So someone donated $1 million to hospital staff at Dominican Hospital, I should say, in Santa Cruz, California. The donation came with a note that said, quote, "Thank you for standing up and staying up to care for our community. This human kindness is what makes you heroic." The gift is designated entirely for employees, nurses, cleaning staff, lab techs, and even mailroom staff and security guards who have worked at that hospital for at least a year. Full-time staff will get $800 and part-time staff will receive $600.
So we know that the pandemic has caused increased stress and anxiety for everybody in varying levels. But did you know that it could actually bring us some insight into mental health issues? We'll explain that. Stick with us right after the break.
And weather-wise, it's another warm, nice spring day across the Triad, but this is the last warm day we're going to have for some time. Upper 70s to near 80 degrees across the area right now, and all is quiet on the radar. But as we head through your Tuesday, we'll see some on and off rain. Really, this kind of comes in one round in the morning and then another round tomorrow evening. And even if we get enough warmth, we could get some storms in the evening hours, but they wouldn't be strong or severe. Don't look to be right now anyway. Today, I think we'll top out in the upper 70s. That's kind of where we are now, down to 54 for the overnight low. And then we are much cooler tomorrow. We're going to stay in the 50s most of Tuesday, only warming up to right around the 60-degree mark in the afternoon. And then things are drying out Wednesday, dry Thursday, dry Friday, but we do stay in the 60s. So the first part of May is going to stay cool.
Check 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. Hello, hello. Check, check, check. Checky, checky, checky. So the pandemic is a global problem with lots of repercussions. We all know that. But did you know that it might give us, kind of open the door and let us understand and see a little bit more clearly what mental health issues are like? I spoke with Jody Lorenzo of Sanctuary House about this topic. Take a look.
So Jody, it is kind of fascinating how, some of us are getting a peek into some mental health issues, even if we don't have major ones. But this isolation of what we're going through now, is that relatable for depression or something like that?
Absolutely. I think that the medical pandemic that we're experiencing right now has become, at least in my world, in my field of mental health, very much an analogy for what individuals with mental illness and their families experience. We went into this pandemic. There was no manual about how to manage it. All of our systems that we had in our communities were just thrown off, and we all had to learn together. So there has been an increase of individuals experiencing anxieties, depression, and any other symptoms that would be associated with just a adjustment to a big issue or deeper issues of what someone is facing.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think for a lot of folks that maybe haven't had much experience with mental illness, what we are experiencing, that increased anxiety, the isolation, is exactly what some folks with depression experience day to day without a pandemic.
Absolutely. Like I said, there's no manual. And when you're alone and you're locked inside your house, you feel alone, you feel isolated. And those are feelings that are common. We call this social distancing, but it's actually physical distancing for keeping people safe. It doesn't decrease your need for social outlets and to talk and meet with friends and people.
I think that's very true. Thank you, Jody. We could all take a page from this book, that's for sure. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Eric.
So if you'd like to reach out to Sanctuary House, we put a link to their website in this story. Just look for that on WFMYnews2.com. And coming up for the next half hour, we're going to talk a little bit about what you should do if you have family or friends that maybe do have some mental health issues, whether it's some light depression or whatever it is, how this can affect them and what we should be doing.
One of the biggest health concerns remains, when will a coronavirus vaccine be available? More than 90 potential coronavirus vaccines are currently being developed.
Well, of those 90 studies, about 12 are in the human trial stage. The first set of those data will be available in June. The hope is a vaccine will be ready by the end of the fall. Now, the biggest issue is making sure the vaccines are strong enough to provide immunity to people. Once a vaccine is developed, it will be rolled out to those on the front lines first.
Healthcare workers on the front line are key, obviously. And then people at high risk for complications and being admitted to hospitals. Those are people with diabetes, obesity, blood pressure issue, and the elderly. Those are the ones that if they get the virus are the ones who get very sick and end up being admitted to a hospital. So we need people to take care of them. That's the frontline workers, as well as the high risk would be the first.
You can always stay up to date on the latest coronavirus vaccine news. All you have to do is head over to our website, WFMYnews2.com, and then click on the coronavirus section under Health Stories. Coming up after the break, the next time you go to the office, it could look a little different. We'll break down how the coronavirus means changes for the workplace. Coming up. Yeah. Okay. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now? Does the shot look good? I was told to tilt down. Hello. Mic check.
Seriously? Hello? Oh, yes. There I am. Yeah, that's me. It's, oh wow, this is hard because I have like a delay. So I'm just going to try to talk, but I can hear myself back.
For years, businesses have moved to open concept workspaces, but now in the age of social distancing, will open office spaces become a thing of the past? Well, one architect who has more than 30 years in the industry designing buildings in DC says maybe, but we won't see a return to individual offices. We may see a design of future offices for flexibility. So if an office needs to close quickly like they did here over the last few weeks, they'll be able to handle that. He also believes companies will want to add more remote technology inside their buildings to help people work outside the office. He also expects more sanitation stations around.
Well, from workplace changes to changes in the way TV is made, tonight All Rise is going virtual, and you can watch it right here on WFMY News 2. So the show's season finale airs tonight, and listen to this. It was filmed using FaceTime, Zoom, and even WebEx. The premise of the episode is straight from the headlines. Los Angeles is under a mandatory shelter-in-place order. So Judge Lola Carmichael presides over the first virtual bench trial. All Rise is the first scripted show to return to production during the pandemic. The cast and the crew of the show say they're excited to be a part of television history.
To find out that, in fact, we were going to have another episode, A, and then B, have it be a part of TV history was really, really amazing.
From the moment I heard it, I was game. We were all game. I could not stop smiling. I mean, we were all just mouths open, so happy, so excited.
And you can catch tonight's episode right here on WFMY News 2. It begins at 9 o'clock. Chilton, I love how they're tying in what's happening in the real world to what's happening in the show. And also, you know, the way you and I work is how they're working in the television business too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it's going to be. I think for a lot of companies, I'm not sure when a lot of folks realize, hey, this can be done, then some companies may not go back to normal. So this may be something we see a lot of, that's for sure. In the upcoming weeks and months, only time will tell to see what happens with all this. All right, we have much more of the 4 to 5 coming up in just a minute. Just stay right there. Sit tight. We're coming back.
It's not, it's, sorry, they bring my mic up. It's very weird. Like I'm getting that feedback, but it's 3 seconds later. So whatever I'm saying now, I'm going to hear 2 to 3 seconds later. So it's just. Is it survivable right now? Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to Julie. So Courtney is saying she'd rather me not be able to hear. Do everything, and that would just completely mess up the TV. But I can just take this off, right? Yes. Oh, you're saying if I switch back to a box, it's going to mess up.
No, switching back to the box won't matter. Yes, correct. You can switch back to a box.
I think I'd rather switch back to a box and not hear anything.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going back on 5, folks. Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Hear me. Yeah, I can hear. It's all good. Just let me know. What's up? Yeah, let's just go in order. I just make sure you got the refresh. Yep, Kathy, then Michelle. Perfect.
Well, it is a week to thank those whose lives and jobs have been upended by the coronavirus. Today kicks off the start of Teacher Appreciation Week. So we've brought in digital guru Jalen Gilkey to join us during this part of the conversation. We're going to check in with what you guys are saying in just a second. But first, Eric, you're a teacher right now, technically, with homeschooling the kids. But who is a teacher that you're grateful for, especially this week?
Well, please feel sorry for my children right now, with me and my wife trying to teach them. So I looked at this story just a few minutes ago before it came up, and I have a list. So instead of going through that, I'll just cut to the chase, because the one that probably meant the most to me in my life as far as what I do now would be Mr. Don Nance, who was a drama coach and a history teacher at our school, but for me, mostly drama. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
All right, Jalen, so we want people to share their favorite teachers with us, right? How can they do that?
Yeah, so all you got to do is go to our Facebook page. You find this post that says, "Thank you, teachers." It's a big heart. It's hard to miss it. And you just name your teacher there so we can give them a very special shout out. These are some of the most important people in our community. Our first comment comes from Kathy, and she wants to shout out Miss Pamela Bernard. And then Michelle, she would like to reach out to several teachers: Tanya Johnson, Curry, DeToya Dove, Phyllis Caldwell, Eileen Sloan. Y'all are a few of the best, my KP crew. And then we got a special shout out to Miss Hall from Piney Grove Middle for being the most fantastic and creative teacher I've ever had. And I want to give a special shout out to Miss Caroline Jones, who's watching, and Miss Juliana Lerner. That was my second grade teacher, and she's probably my favorite teacher I've ever had.
And WFMY News 2 is helping families give seniors a reason to smile. We're doing this through what we call senior shout outs. So we are asking you to send us pictures of your seniors so we can honor their accomplishments. Let's get into some of the seniors we are honoring today. First is Morgan Brookshire. She plans to pursue a nursing degree at Appalachian State University in the fall. She will graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree of arts from Forsyth Technical Community College. While in high school, she was active in extracurricular activities, including student council and drama. Landon Collins will graduate from Eastern Randolph High School in 2020. He is the class salutatorian. Lanson played basketball and golf all 4 years of high school. He was most valuable golfer his junior year and was all conference his senior year of basketball. Landon will attend UNC Chapel Hill in the fall. Next up, Alexandra Harris is a senior at Greensboro Day School. She is the school's senior class president and a member of the varsity soccer and basketball teams. She is also an Anytown ambassador and won the Linwood Edwards Endowment Award. She will attend Howard University and plans to major in sports medicine. Alexandra was nominated by her grandmother, you may recognize, former WFMY News 2 anchor Sandra Hughes. Now, if you want to share your senior shout outs with us, all you have to do is find the submission form on our website. You can submit photos of your seniors, but we're asking that you not send in professional photos, maybe just one taken on your phone. Be sure to include their name and their school, and also include a personal message with your shout out.
And let's take a look outside. It is a beautiful spring day. Awesome way to start the week, but it's our last warm day for quite some time. Upper 70s to near 80 across the area right now. And we are in the upper 70s now, but tomorrow we're going to take about a 20-degree temperature drop. We'll struggle to even get out of the 50s for your Tuesday with some showers off and on throughout the day. So as this cold front crosses our area tomorrow, that's going to be our next weather system. Again, not a lot of moisture with it, but some on and off showers throughout the day are possible. And there's even a storm chance, a slight storm chance in the evening hours. But if we do get storms, they don't look like they'll be severe or anything like that. Behind that high pressure will build in, we get cool and we get windy heading into Wednesday. So let me take you through on Futurecast. You see our rain really comes in a couple rounds, one in the morning and then one about midday. Again, there is the chance to get some storms in the evening hours. Not a great chance, but if we do get some, I don't think any of those will be severe. Tonight down to 54 for the overnight low. The clouds will be on the increase. And then tomorrow, much cooler. 50s for most of the day, struggling to get to the 60s with on and off rain throughout the day heading into Wednesday. I'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up next on the 4 to 5.
Hey, mic check, mic check. I don't know if you can hear me, but I hope you can. Good.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. When a dark, delicious cookie meets an icy cold sensation, it's the
Yes, hello. I am Taheshah Moyes, giving you a mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hi, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. It's warm outside, but it won't be for long. 30s.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Taheshah Moyes, broadcasting to you live from my living room alongside Eric Chilton, who's also at home, and Maddie Gardner, who is broadcasting live from the studio. We are still practicing social distancing this week. The 4 to 5 is here to make you feel connected and a part of our world, so join the conversation on the WFMY News 2 live stream and on our YouTube channel.
All right, let's get you up to speed this afternoon with your 4 to 5 roundup. Governor Roy Cooper says the death toll is starting to slow down in North Carolina. Now that means we could enter phase 1 of reopening by this weekend. Governor Cooper stressed that all of this depends on if people continue to social distance.
Please know that the success that we've had so far in flattening the curve is due to the work that North Carolinians are doing to stay at home as much as they can, to sanitize, and to keep their physical distance between themselves and others.
In the meantime, more than 1 million North Carolinians have filed for unemployment since mid-March, according to the Department of Commerce. Those claims topped the 1 million mark on May 3rd. State officials say at least 840,000 of those claims are job losses related to the coronavirus outbreak. But that number could be higher if people leave off the reason for their unemployment on their application. With more than 1 million claims filed, the state has paid out nearly $1.25 billion in benefits. We are getting our first look at how the coronavirus pandemic will impact airline jobs. Over the weekend, United Airlines began laying out plans that could include the airline eliminating more than 1/3 of pilot jobs by October of this year. It is still in the early stages, but the airline's chief pilot warned that unless travel rebounds this summer, many pilots, flight attendants, and ground workers could lose their jobs. Right now, the airline is looking at booking flights in July and August using more than 4,000 less workers. High Point University is moving graduation online. The school announced it will honor the class of 2020 with a virtual commencement. The ceremony is on Saturday, May 9th at 9 a.m. You can find a link to the ceremony on the school's website. We also have a link for you on WFMYnews2.com.
Today, Governor Roy Cooper signed off on a critical relief bill for those in need during this pandemic. State lawmakers came up with a plan to provide more than $1 billion in relief for different groups in North Carolina. So let's dive into this bill and how that money will be divided. $125 million will go towards small business loans. $95 million will help hospitals in the state. $85 million will be used to develop a vaccine and conduct other research at universities in North Carolina. Schools will get money to fund nutrition programs, summer learning, and to buy technology for students. There's also money going to food banks, local health departments, and health support in rural areas. In the meantime, U.S. senators went back to work in Washington, D.C. today. This afternoon, senators started the debate over the next round of coronavirus financial relief. It is still in the early discussions right now, but it's already shaping up to be a debate divided along party lines, with Democrats and Republicans at odds over whether to provide states with extra money or look into payroll tax cuts. While senators meet, House lawmakers will not return for at least another week. Now, the Supreme Court made history today, having its first oral argument over the phone. It is the first time the justices were not together for an argument, each called in by phone. It's also the first time the audio was streamed live. Despite the changes, the highest court in the land tried to observe tradition as much as possible. Proceedings began precisely at 10 a.m. as they always do, with the marshal calling court to order. She did, however, leave out the phrase about spectators drawing near, since of course no one was in the courtroom.
Today, Costco rolled out its new policy that requires all shoppers to wear a face mask. Now, it announced the move last week, but the new rules, they went into effect today. This is the latest measure that the store rolled out to keep workers and shoppers safe. Previously, the store capped the number of people allowed inside, and Costco also put limits on in-demand products like toilet paper and cleaning supplies. Across the Triad, groups are working to help people get their hands on those face masks. Folks gave them out at Beloved Community free face mask distribution this afternoon. It wrapped up about half an hour ago. This is just one of a few events in Greensboro working to make sure those in need of a mask can get one. And wearing a mask out in public, it's the new normal as we work to control the spread of COVID-19. But people with other medical conditions have been covering their faces during flu season for some time. And it's why one Thomasville woman started making masks back in September. This pandemic didn't come with a pattern, something to follow to show us exactly how to sew together the fabric of our new normal. But Kathy Westmoreland says she already had one cut out and ready to go.
Back in September, I bought a couple masks, and I didn't like the way they felt. So me and my mom, we have compromising health conditions. So I started making me and her some. And then the corona came.
She and her mother wore face masks to keep them safe from the flu and allergies. So when COVID-19 started to make an impact in our area, Westmoreland fired up her vintage sewing machines and started cranking out masks for friends and family.
That gives me something to do, and I know I'm helping people.
When word got out, she started selling her handmade face coverings online. She uses the money she makes to donate masks to people who can't afford them.
Actually, I've sold about 200, and I've gave more than 100 away.
After 40 years of only sewing for herself and her family, Westmoreland says it's nice to know she's helping keep people across the country safe.
I've got people all over the United States. I've sold, I know, close to 75 out in California. I've sent some to Kentucky, Florida, just all over the place. Anybody that wants one.
Westmoreland says she uses 100% cotton to make her mask, and Chilton, she sews in a pocket, so if you want to put an extra filter in there, you can, just for an added layer of protection. By the way, you can find her on Facebook Marketplace.
Let's take a look outside. It is another warm day across the Triad. Hopefully you've had a chance to get out and enjoy it, because it will be the last one for quite some time. We're in the upper 70s to near 80, but we're going to take about a 20-degree temperature drop tomorrow to the 50s, and we'll even struggle to make it out of the 50s tomorrow. We got a cold front that crossed our area last night. That's why we're a little bit cooler today, but another low-pressure system and a cold front tracking our way tomorrow. That will be our weather system. Again, not a lot of rain, but some on and off showers as we go throughout the day. They'll kind of come in rounds. But behind that, high pressure will start to build in on Wednesday. We are much cooler and will be quite breezy on Wednesday too. And we'll stay cool as we head through the rest of the week and even into the weekend. Futurecast model, you can see that rain really comes in a couple rounds tomorrow. Just some on and off showers, one in the morning and then one in the midday and early afternoon. There is the possibility we get some thunder tomorrow evening. If we do get any thunderstorms, though, it doesn't look like any of those would be strong or severe, just some general thunderstorms. Overnight clouds on the increase down to 54 for the overnight low. It's a cloudy and cool day for the most part on Tuesday, with some showers in the morning and the evening hours. Of course, we'll keep our eyes open for any storms if they do pop up. We stay cool, but warming up through the 60s through the end of the week. But check out the weekend. Lower 60s for highs on Saturday and Sunday, even some morning lows on Mother's Day in the upper 30s.
It is one thing if you owe the IRS. It is something totally different when you get a refund from the IRS. But what do they have in common, Maddie? I'm going to bring you into the conversation.
All right, so it sounds like a trick question, Tanya, but I'm going to say that the IRS has your banking information either way.
Yes, that is correct. So you would kind of think that whether you owed or whether you got a refund, that the IRS would know where to send your stimulus money.
And this is where you say they don't.
Yeah, and I'm going to explain why they don't coming up at 6 o'clock. In the meantime, I want to make sure that this gets out. If you receive SSI or VA benefits and don't normally file taxes and you have a child under 17, you can claim $500 for each child in stimulus money, but the deadline to claim dependents is May the 5th. So you have 24 hours left. All right, in this Who Wants to Know article, you'll find the direct link to put in your information to claim that child credit. And questions, questions, questions. We always have them. Text your questions to 336-379-5775. Experts from Cone Health will be taking your coronavirus health-related questions today at 5:30.
Still ahead on WFMY News 2, unemployment benefits is the reason that many people are able to pay their bills during this time. But now business owners say they're worried those benefits are better than what they can pay their workers. The issue the unemployment crisis is bringing up and what you have to say about it coming up next.
The new payroll protection program has processed more than $500 billion in loans to help small businesses survive the coronavirus crisis. The loans will be forgiven only if businesses spend 75% of it on employees. But as Ed O'Keefe reports, many business owners are not spending it because so many people, including their workers, are staying home.
On unemployment, I was getting almost $700 a week. And if I were to go back to work, I'd probably be lucky to get a minimum of 400.
Hairstylist Audrey Boswell was laid off when her salon closed due to the coronavirus. But after her boss received money from the Paycheck Protection Program, she was asked to return to work.
It's not like you want to be unemployed.
No. I want to go back to work, but I want to go back to work when it's safe. And for me to refuse to go back to work and then get kicked off unemployment, I mean, it was just a double-edged sword.
Out-of-work Americans like Audrey are facing some tricky math. State unemployment benefits range from a maximum of $235 a week in Mississippi to just over $450 in Arkansas to more than $800 in Massachusetts. When Congress passed the CARES Act in March,
the bill is passed.
Republicans criticized the decision to tack on an extra $600 per week to unemployment payments through the end of July.
You're literally incentivizing taking people out of the workforce.
It means some workers are now making more money without a job than with one.
If you're a barista, suddenly being on unemployment is looking pretty good.
Mary Allen Lindeman runs Coffee by Design in Portland, Maine, which received more than $400,000 through PPP. But the program allows just 8 weeks to meet hiring targets if they want the loan forgiven.
We were being told 48 full-time people needed to come back, and we had a stay-at-home order in place. So how exactly were we going to get 40 people back when we can't open our locations?
Now, there are proposals in the Senate that would give some small business owners more time to qualify for loan forgiveness. But if the rules don't change, some of the small business owners we spoke with said that despite the challenges, they won't necessarily be able to spend all the money they were given. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Washington.
Well, this story is getting a lot of attention on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. Let's take a look at some of your comments. Lee Gooden says that's going to be a big problem. People are not going to want to go back to work. Angie Trail says, in part, I am happy for my employees to make more money right now on unemployment than they make working for me. Our employees are amazing, and I would love to be able to pay them more. Lindsay Ernest Schmidt says, I know someone that is in food service and unemployed now. They make more in unemployment than I make as a nurse. Ronnie Nance says unemployment is a good thing in times like these, but to pay someone more than they were making is not. I've been on unemployment before, and they went back several years and paid about 80% of your average earnings. Anxiety is high all the way around these days. The pandemic is exaggerating everything. WFMY News 2's Eric Chilton spoke with the director of the Sanctuary House in Greensboro to tell us what we need to be on the lookout for.
So Jody, let's talk about two different things here. For people that do have some emotional challenges, maybe some depression issues, how does this pandemic and the isolation we're going through, how does that make it worse for them? And then also for their friends and families, they're concerned too. So let's talk about how it makes it worse for both of those groups, and then what are some solutions?
You're taking yourself and removing yourself from normal outlets of socialization and engaging in your community, which can keep people feeling productive, feeling useful. We've seen people losing jobs, and that's a big important piece of feeling like a productive citizen in our communities, and the feelings associated with that.
Let's talk about first people who have some issues, depression, emotional. What are some things they need to do, and then what does their family and friend group, their social group, need to do to kind of keep an eye on things?
Well, I think being intentional, I think building structure in your day. If you're driving down the road and you see a stop sign, that's an indicator to you that you're to stop at a roadway, right? And so that's very similar in terms of what is it that you need in your life. If it's a note on the front door, don't forget to call my friend. What is your stop sign that you can put out there to indicate what is the behavior I need to be doing right now to make me feel better? Calling your doctor, calling somebody and saying, I don't feel well. Can you come sit on my porch? We can be physically apart, but don't leave me alone right now. There's a lot of people that need engagement, and that's normal.
That's very true. Thank you, Jody, for being with us today. We appreciate it.
If you need to reach out to the Sanctuary House, we have linked you to their website on ours. Just look for this story on WFMYnews2.com. You're 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
I'll tell you what, this has really been the story of the weekend and today. If you look up, it's really hard to find a cloud in the sky. Take a look at this. Our weather stem cameras over UNC Greensboro, also Wake Forest University, and also some other various places across the Triad. Beautiful Carolina blue sky today, but that will change tomorrow, and it's also another warm day. Upper 70s to near 80 right now, even at 4:30. 77 in Greensboro, 78 in Winston-Salem, 82 in High Point, 78 in Asheboro, and 79 in Lexington. This will be the last warm day for quite some time. In fact, we're going to take about a 20-degree temperature drop heading into your Tuesday. We'll struggle to get out of the 50s tomorrow. We stay in the 50s for most of the day. I do think we end up topping out right around 60 degrees for the afternoon high. We'll also have to deal with some rain on and off tomorrow. On the radar right now, though, all is clear, all is quiet. That will change also heading into tomorrow. Here's the setup. We had a cold front that crossed our area yesterday evening, and that's why we are just slightly cooler today by a few degrees. But as another area of low pressure and this cold front head our way, that's going to be our weather system for tomorrow. Again, it's not going to be a washout day, but just some on and off showers as we go throughout the day are a possibility. After that, heading into Wednesday, high pressure will build back in. We get cooler on Wednesday. Also, Wednesday afternoon is quite breezy too, and we're going to keep that cool air around for quite a while, getting even cooler as we head into the weekend, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But we do stay dry heading into the end of the week and the weekend as well. Let me take you through on Futurecast and show you our rain tomorrow. Looks like it really comes in a couple rounds, one in the morning and then another one in the midday and evening hours. Then in the nighttime hours tomorrow, it's possible we get a couple rumbles of thunder or a couple thunderstorms. Not a guarantee that we do, and if we do, the good news is that right now it doesn't look like any of those would be strong or severe. Of course, if that changes, we will keep you updated. Clouds on the increase tonight. We'll be down in the mid-50s for the overnight low, so not all that cold tonight. And if you want to grill out tonight or maybe spend some time on the patio, it's going to be a nice night to do that. Tomorrow, it's mainly cloudy and cool, of course, on and off showers, but we'll struggle to get out of the 50s tomorrow. We stay cool tomorrow, gradually warming up, but we don't get out of the 60s for the rest of the week and even lower 60s heading into the weekend. Take a look at Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures on Saturday afternoon in the lower 60s, and same thing on Sunday. But I want you to notice it's very possible we could have some March air making its return to us even in the first week of May. It's very possible we have some lows in the upper 30s on Sunday for Mother's Day. So go ahead and plan for that, prepare for that. You might want to cover up some sensitive plants. Not a guarantee that we get some frost, but it's very possible in some low-lying areas. So if you like cooler weather, well, it looks like the first part of May is at least going to play out in your favor.
Well, still ahead tonight on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, we dig deeper into the financial impact the coronavirus continues to have on Triad businesses. Today, Gold's Gym and J. Crew filed for bankruptcy, what it means for gym goers and shoppers in North Carolina.
Eight, 9, 10. Keep talking. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Mic check.
Some business owners tell me there seems to be no rhyme or reason as to who can reopen and who has to remain closed. Okay. I talked to a business in Lexington. It's called Nature's Cottage. It's a spa, and they told me that they got denied while other massage therapists were doesn't. This is me, yes. I'm on like a Dorays. I'm sharing with her. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Here. Callie, it's so good to hear your voice.
It's time for my 2 cents. I have to admit, last week was a rough one. During these stay-at-home orders, I've gotten into what I call my new routine. I wake up, eat breakfast, and get to work. But the real fun happens when I clock out. After work, I'll get a workout in led by a virtual instructor, learn some TikTok dances, read a few pages of whatever book is on my list, and then pick a show to stream while video chatting with my fiance. Last week, I didn't work out like I usually do, and I learned no TikTok dances. And you know what? I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was dragging, and by the end of the week, I felt miserable and irritable. Here's what I've come to learn. Working out and dancing in my living room is what I need to do for my mental health. And it's important now than ever that we pay attention to our mental health. So I challenge you to figure out what brings you joy in your life during this tough time and cling to that. You better believe I'll be getting back on that TikTok train. What train will you be hopping on for your mental health? Head over to my Facebook page and let me know what you're doing to take care of yourself mentally. We'll read some of your comments later on in the show this week. That's my 2 cents and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
This is a time that North Carolina has truly come together to fight this disease.
Hopeful we can start the first phase of reopening the state this weekend.
Like Taheshah just said, he is hopeful we can reopen the state this weekend. Governor Cooper plans to release more information tomorrow or